Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Hope everybody's doing okay today. I'm going to go a little old school tonight, and I thought I would read this decision for a little bit. This is the Tariffs case that was in front of SCOTUS this week. So I thought, well, I'll read a little bit of this, and then I will open the floor for Q&A, okay? Excuse me. That way, we don't have to be inundated with the trolls, right? So hopefully this will be okay. A lot of people have enjoyed this in the past. So here's the case that we're going to be talking about. This case has multiple names to it, multiple parties. So we have VOS Selections up here versus Mr. Orange here. We've got different products and such over here. And then down here, we've got Oregon, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maine, Minnesota. So we've got a whole group of states. Now, the states are part of this because they are being led legally from their attorney general. So obviously, it's not the entire state, it's the state's attorney general. And rumor on the street was that attorney generals were actually already prepping for Mr. Orange to come into office to make it a little bit easier because they knew a lot of lawsuits were going to be coming through. And a lot of lawsuits did come through. So this is, excuse me, this is the states here. There's one more learning materials coming up here, and I'll show you that. But this whole case is about all of Mr. Orange's tariffs. All right, so Mr. Orange has put a whole bunch of tariffs up, and he claims that he can do that because of the international emergency economic powers set out in the federal code under Section 35. So this is IEPA here, and he says, well, I'm just going to use this. We either have an unusual extraordinary threat or a declaration of a national emergency, which he has put into place through his executive orders multiple times, this national emergency question, and to exercise the presidential authorities, exercise of presidential authorities. So two things to always remember when we're fighting through these cases, everybody, is that he is arguing anything that has to do with, hopefully I spelled that semi-right, anything that has to do with foreign relations. He thinks he's completely in charge and no questions asked. It's not even justiciable. You can't even take it to court. If it's foreign affairs, it's his. That's one. And the second piece he is arguing is, here we go, okay, so it's foreign affairs, so he should be able to do it. And the other piece, hold on, it just flew out of my mind. Just one moment, everybody. Let me think about this. So we have foreign affairs, and no, that's not the right one. Foreign affairs. Oh, yeah. Okay, here. The second one's not being used here, but to figure out what exactly he tries to use is also with the pardons. All right, we're not dealing with a pardon here, but basically these two are the ones where the genie power came in for his immunity case, right? We all know about that one. So he's hitting the foreign affairs properly. The pardons he's been hitting, and we'll just put one more in here, which is the national defense. We don't know what that means. We don't know what national defense means. And then you go to the statute to look it up, and it looks apparently like there really aren't any parameters. So I think it would be a good time to update our statutes here because this is getting messy. But what he's using specifically for tariffs, again, is the IEPA Act. Now, he has multiple other national emergencies going on as well. And so, he's got other emergency statutes he's using for those. But for the tariffs, this is what we're going to take a look at here. All right. 1701, this will be the only piece that I will read to you here before we dive in to the appellate court's decision here. 1701, unusual and extraordinary threat, declaration of national emergency, exercise of presidential authorities. Again, with these big, broad words, Mr. Orange is going in and trying to define everything himself and isn't saying, should I do this, or can you look into this for me, like most presidents have done in the past. He just does it. And then later on is like, well, whoops. And boom, before you know it, the east wing of the Capitol's gone. So here we go. A, any authority granted to the president by Section 702 of this title may be exercised to deal with any unusual and extraordinary threat. These are our buzzwords that we're going to be hearing over and over and over again. And if you listen to SCOTUS arguments, you've already heard that a little bit. But again, we have to pass the test in order to unlock the statute for all of those extra powers that he wants. Unusual and extraordinary threat, which has its source in whole or substantial part outside the United States to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States. If the president declares a national emergency with respect to such threat, all right? And here's B, the authorities granted to the president by Section 702 of this title may only be exercised to deal with an unusual and extraordinary threat. All right, again, we're seeing what has to be proven in order for him to come in and start dinking around with commerce, all right? So these are going to be your big arguments. Well, they were already your big arguments, if you want to go through listening to that again. All right, so unusual, extraordinary threat with respect to which a national emergency has been declared for purposes of this chapter and may not be exercised for any other purpose. Any exercise of such authorities to deal with any new threat shall be based on a new declaration of national emergency, which must be with respect to such threat. So right now, I think he's got 6 national emergencies going, and that's how he's justified, this huge stack of executive orders. So there's national emergency at the southern border. There's a national emergency at the northern border. There's a national emergency for anything with China because, and the reason is because they're saying they're not doing enough to protect Americans from their own country's drugs problem. So they're not helping America enough. And so now we have an emergency. So that's long and short of it. Too long probably. And I will go through the IEPA statute as time goes on. I feel like it's going to probably be a little bit before they decide on the IEPA case because of the fallout. I do not think for a minute that some of them are just like, I don't know, which way. No, I think they probably already have a pretty good idea of which way they're going to rule, but thinking through how they want to say it and also trying to not upset the base because then they get harassed and threatened. All right, so there you go. Now, this particular procedural history is very simple. We had a case that was filed in D.C., right? Here's a list of the Supreme Court schedule. But they filed it, and the court said no, and then up to the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, and that's what you're going to see when we're talking about the international court, all right? So you probably have heard that term, weren't familiar with it, and this is the International Trade Court that's making these decisions, all right? Because it's a specialty case. So here it is up on appeals, and the appellate court said, no, this isn't what was intended with the statute. Congress is the one that is supposed to be taking care of money stuff, and not you. So they appealed this, and that's how it got to SCOTUS. And the SCOTUS arguments were just, what was yesterday? Was it the 5th? I think it was yesterday. So they were listening to it, and all 9 justices were there asking some questions and such. And you can go and take a look or listen if you're interested. I recommend, there are so many places. You can go to the homepage of SCOTUS, all right? So SCOTUS homepage here. Or where I really like to go, everyone, is oye.org. And I like to use Oye, because they just, I don't know, maybe the last 18 months just started putting arguments up. And it's really neat because they will light up the justice that's talking. And I think that's very helpful. Sometimes it's really difficult to distinguish between Justice Sotomayor and Justice Kagan. And so it's really nice when they kind of show it's like, okay, it's Justice Kagan. That makes more sense with what she's saying. Well, thank you for the gifts, everybody. Oh, I appreciate it. So here we are. I had started this case previously on another live. I'd hoped to make it through, but of course that didn't happen. So let's fast forward to where we stopped here. I want to make sure we get a bigger chunk of what's going on here. Oh, looks like we only did a couple pages, so maybe it will be best to start at the beginning. These readings go quite a bit faster with the comments on. So again, let me make a sticky note here and just make sure to remind everybody that I will be doing a Q&A immediately following the reading. So let's do this real quick. All right, and okay, here we go. This is Voss here, Voss v. T-Rump here. Gotta be careful with that. And then the case number is 25-1812, 1812, and this is the SCOTUS number. All right, and then what we're looking at though is doc number 159 in the Court of Appeals. All right, so that's what we're looking for. And then let me just add in quickly here. I will do a Q&A immediately afterwards. So Q&A after reading. All right, there we go. So I'm gonna just dive right in, everybody, and hold on to your hats. All right, so first thing to note, and I think this is really important, is that this is a per curiam decision. So we don't know exactly who wrote the decision. We do have concurrence. We do have, I believe also we have a dissent in here perhaps, but we're only going to be looking at the majority opinion with this one. So here we go. The government appeals a decision of the Court of International Trade. Again, that's that federal circuit that we were talking about. Setting aside 5 executive orders that imposed tariffs of unlimited duration on nearly all goods from nearly every country in the world, holding that the tariffs were not authorized by the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEPA, here, because we agree that IEPA's grant of presidential authority to regulate imports does not authorize the tariffs imposed by the executive orders we affirm. All right, so the appellate court is saying, look, we're with the lower court. IEPA was not meant to do this, and this regulation of imports pulls that power given to Congress under Article 1 and shifts it over to Article 2 for the president. So, and I'm sure you heard a lot of that too in the SCOTUS debates yesterday. And this question of, well, is it a tax? Is it not a tax? And those kinds of questions are important because the regulation element here, that's our magic word that we're watching for. All right, 1A. This case involves the extent of the president's authority under IEPA to regulate importation in response to a national emergency declared by the president. For many years, Congress has carefully constructed tariff schedules, which provide for, in great detail, the tariffs to be imposed on particular goods. Since taking office, President Orange has declared several national emergencies. In response to these declared emergencies, the Orange has, I remember that. I'm cracking myself up, sorry. The president has departed from the established tariff schedules and imposed varying tariffs of unlimited duration on imports of nearly all goods from nearly every country with which the United States conducts trade. This appeal concerns 5 executive orders, these emergencies here, so EO 14-19-3, 14-19-4, 14-19-5, 14-25-7, and 14-26-6 here. All right, those are the ones we're looking at. and they will be collectively referred to as the challenged executive orders. We summarize the history of the challenged executive orders by first discussing the national emergencies in response to which they were issued, and then addressing the nature of the measures directed by the challenged executive order, or orders, multiple here. On January 20th, the president declared the existence of a national emergency at the United States southern border with Mexico upon Section 201 and 301 of the National Emergencies Act. And that's a different act than the one that we're talking about here. And then that is cited down here. And then there's a proclamation. Proclamation and executive orders, two different things. Very similar, though. Declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States. That's set out here in the Federal Register. In the proclamation, he identified the presence of cartels, criminal gangs, known terrorists, human traffickers, smugglers, unvetted military-age males, from the foreign adversaries, and illicit drugs that harm Americans, and at and around the southern border as threats to the country's territorial sovereignty. Shortly thereafter, the president faulted Mexico for, quote, affording safe havens for the cartels to engage in the manufacturing and transportation of illicit drugs to the United States. And then here are the executive orders there, if you're interested. The president also expanded the scope of the national emergency declared in Proclamation 1088-6 to include threats originating from Canada and the People's Republic of China. On February 1st of 2025, he declared that the sustained influx of illicit ODRUGSs and other substances has profound consequence on our nation, and stated that Canada has played a central role in these challenges, including by failing to devote sufficient attention and resources to, before I finish the sentence, let's hop down here to our footnote, all right? So footnote here is the president has continued to impose various tariffs targeting imports from dozens of U.S. trading partners during the pendency of this appeal. Because this appeal pertains only to the challenged executive orders, we do not delve into the details of these later executive orders. So we're attention and resources to effectively stem the tide of illicit substances. Imposing duties to address the flow of illicit substances across our northern border is the name of the EO, and the name, of course, is way too long, but whatever. He similarly stated that these emergencies had been exacerbated by China's failure to arrest, seize, detain, or otherwise intercept chemical precursor supplies, money launderers, other transnational criminal organizations, criminals at large, and DRUGS's executive order here. Now, as I pause for a moment, I would say, again, what they're doing is they're saying, you're not doing enough in your own country to prevent it coming into our country. And somehow that's an okay justification for tariffs. In response to the declared national emergency of the trafficking of the O1s into the country and the ostensible failure of Mexico, Canada, and China to meaningfully address this threat, the president imposed what this opinion refers to as trafficking tariffs, 25% ad valorem duties on all articles that are produced of Canada. Executive order here, and then 25% ad valorem duties on all articles that are products of Mexico, and 10% ad valorem duties on all articles that are products of China. Right, so again, those three countries he's going after here. All right, let me pull this down a little bit. I just hope I'm in frame. Okay, so we'll stop here. Now we also have where the judge is going in and saying, these numbers have gone up and down depending on what's happening. Next, in each of these executive orders, the president stated that the circumstances constituted an unusual and extraordinary threat, which had its source in substantial part outside of the United States. See how they're pulling that language in from the statute there and just making it crystal clear, using the exact words in the statute. To national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. Here, in imposing these tariffs, he claimed to be acting under the authority of Section 1702A1B. And again, that one's going to be discussed quite a bit. So 1702, hold on, just so that you know, I've got my stuff here. 1702. This would be easier if they put page numbers, but alas. Sanctioning. All right, well, it's in here. Sorry, everybody. It's 1702, which is presidential authorities. Okay, hold on. This is going to drive me crazy here. It drives me crazy if I can't find the right legal code section. I will lose my mind. All right, hold on here. We've got sanctions. Ooh, look at all the sanctions. Illicit captive again. Okay, banking. Sanctioning again on banking. Nicaragua is in the statute. Ooh, my goodness gracious. All right. Seriously, this is gonna, okay, here we go. I see the end. Miscellaneous provisions. Was that all for the first one? Dang, that's a lot. Respect to support. Okay, we're kind of just flipping through here. Sudan accountability is included in this. All of these other ones. Well, I can't find it. Oh my goodness. That makes me very uncomfortable. I'm extremely uncomfortable right now because I can't find it. All right, well, all right. Oh, okay. Oh, no. So this is just talking about presidential determinations on the Sudan Peace Act. I got to keep moving forward, everybody. I apologize. It's 130 pages, this particular act, and I do want to take everybody through it, but I have not gone through and annotated it yet. All right, so lost some time in the air. I apologize. But this is what they're talking about the whole time. Under 1702A1B, they're saying of IEEPA, right, and specifically found that action under other authority to impose tariffs was inadequate to address the unusual and extraordinary threat. So they're saying, the other stuff that we have at our fingertips is not enough to stop what we believe is the national emergency. All right. Each of the executive orders providing for the trafficking tariffs directed the Secretary of Homeland Security to alter the harmonized tariff schedule of the United States, or HTSUS, to effectuate the new higher trafficking tariffs. So they basically just went into Congress and took out the book and they said, well, we're going to change all of this. That doesn't seem right. The president subsequently modified the trafficking tariffs first after determining that China had not taken adequate steps to alleviate the illicit substance crisis through the cooperation enforcement actions, and that the crisis described in Executive Order 1419-5 had not abated. He increased ad valorem duties on Chinese products from 10% to 20% and with another executive order. Further amendment to the duties addressing the substance supply chain in the People's Republic of China. So it's like you need to get control in your own country. That would be the equivalent of telling a leader of a country what to do, right? The president further implemented duty-free de minimis treatment for otherwise covered articles from Canada and Mexico. De minimis means they're under a certain amount. So let me see if they've got the dollar amount here. Skimming. Executive order here. Oh, here it is, $800. If it was less than $800, it's de minimis, so it's not going to be fought over. Here we go. He similarly stated that this emergency had been exacerbated by China's failure to arrest, seize, detain, or otherwise intercept chemical precursors, suppliers, money launderers, and other transnational criminal organizations, criminals at large, and substances. Again, this is written out in the executive order. Again, this is where he's telling China what he wants China to do with its own people. In response to the declared national emergency of the trafficking of the substances into the country and to the ostensible failure of Mexico, Canada, and China to meaningfully address this threat, the president imposed what this opinion refers to as the trafficking tariffs here. All right, so a lot of these issues need to get pulled out and taken care of here. Hold on. Oh, I'm backwards. Hold on a minute here, everybody. Oh, there we go. There's page 9. It's all right. Okay, let's dive back in. Where were we? Yeah, we were down here. The People's Republic of China. And then we had our $800. Excellent. So we're on 9. On April 2nd of 2025, the president imposed what this opinion refers to as reciprocal tariffs, baseline 10% ad valorem duties on imports from nearly every country with which the United States has any significant trade relationship, with additional ad valorem duties ranging from 11% to as high as 50% to be imposed shortly thereafter on a per country basis. I mean, okay, we'll keep reading. Okay, like the trafficking tariffs, these reciprocal tariffs were to be implemented by modifying the HT-SUS. So we have two kinds of tariffs so far, right? We have the trafficking tariffs here, and then we have the reciprocal tariffs. Again, saying we've got some kind of national emergency allows for that justification. In imposing the reciprocal tariffs, the president again invoked his claimed authority under IEEPA and the NEA. Section 604 of the Trade Act of 1974. He, hold on a second, let's get to our little footnotes down here. The president also originally implemented such duty-free de minimis treatment for otherwise eligible articles from China here, and fast forwarding, but he later rescinded this de minimis treatment for China products, Chinese products. Are you kidding me? So we went back and forth on whether or not even the de minimis items would be tariffed. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, here we go. Number 10. He explained that the reciprocal tariffs addressed an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security and economy of the United States posed by underlying conditions, including a lack of reciprocity in our bilateral trade relationships, disparate tariff rates and non-tariff barriers, and U.S. trading partners' economic policies that suppress domestic wages and consumption. I'm going to pause here for just 1 second here to clarify the rule of reciprocity, and that just means like, you know, the golden rule. If you treat us well, we will treat you well. With governments is what he's talking about here. And he's saying the reciprocity isn't good enough in these countries. We're giving them too much and they aren't giving us enough. So that's what they're saying here. The president repeatedly amended the China-specific reciprocal tariff rate in response to China's adjustments of its own tariff rates on U.S. goods. He first increased the China-specific rate from 34 to 84%, effective April 8th. Here, and I'm skipping past the executive order name here. So these new rates were to be effectuated by modifying the HT-SUS, which again is that tariffs structure that Congress would put into place to reflect the higher rates. Fast forwarding. Following discussions with Chinese officials, the president lowered the China-specific reciprocal tariff rate to 10%, effective until August 12th, observing that discussions were a significant step by China toward remedying non-reciprocal trade arrangements and addressing the concerns of the United States relating to economic and national security matters. Again, with our executive orders. On July 7th of 2025, the president paused enforcement of all reciprocal tariffs until August 1st. On July 31st, the president again paused enforcement of the reciprocal tariffs for 7 days. The reciprocal tariffs, other than for China, took effect on August 7th of 2025. On April 14th of 2025, 5 small businesses, Voss Selections, Plastic Services and Products, Genova Pipe, Microkits, Terry Precision Cycling, collectively the private plaintiffs, brought suit before the Court of International Trade against the United States and various government officials in their official capacities, challenging the president's imposition of reciprocal tariffs. On April 23rd of 25, Oregon and 11 other states, collectively the state plaintiffs, brought suit before the International Court against the U.S. Okay. Hold on here. Against the United States and various government officials in their official capacities, challenging the president's imposition of both the reciprocal tariffs and the trafficking tariffs. On May 28th, a 3-judge panel of the SIT granted summary judgment to the private plaintiffs. And again, we have a summary judgment. That just means you've asked the judge to look at the record, and the judge believes they can make an assessment and a proper opinion off of that. So there's no trial. You just give the record to the judge. All right. So keep that in mind. 2 private plaintiffs and the state's plaintiffs in consolidated order, holding that both the reciprocal tariffs and the trafficking tariffs exceeded the president's authority under IEEPA and permanently enjoining the government from imposing these tariffs. Here. All right, let's make sure I'm straight. My paper is straight. The government appealed both cases the same day and moved to stay the injunction pending appeal. We consolidated the appeals, granted the government's motion to stay pending their resolution. Stay means to not go forward on any other court cases, and expedited briefing and oral argument. We also, sua sponte, decided to assign the case to the court en banc. So sua sponte means on its own. So the court itself made a decision, which is very rare, actually. And they pulled in the entire bench. So rather than a 3-judge panel, the full bench came in. So that's what they're talking about with en banc, deciding that, rather than doing a panel of 3 and then doing a full panel. Section C. Before we reach the merits of this case, we briefly discuss the history and legal authority concerning the imposition of tariffs and as relevant to this appeal. Right. The Constitution grants Congress the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises and to regulate commerce with foreign nations. Tariffs are a tax. This is where all of the tax talk came in that was in front of SCOTUS yesterday. Tariffs are a tax, and the framers of the Constitution expressly contemplated the exclusive grant of taxing power to the legislative branch when Patrick Henry expressed concern excuse me, that the president may easily become king. So there was a king worry here. Now, you may not know who Patrick Henry is, and that's fine, but he has a he is acknowledged as one of the greatest orators of our time. Here are the Federalist Papers. These are written by Hamilton, Madison, and John Jay, who only wrote, I think, 4 of them, right? The Federalist Papers, you've been hearing a lot about that because apparently we're going to go back in history as often as we can, all right? And then over here are the Anti-Federalist Papers. You don't hear about those very much, all right? These are the people who came in and said, well, wait a minute, we're not sure we want this to go forward. This is looking kind of like a monarchy situation. And one of the biggest authors is Patrick Henry. All right, so I'm just taking it down a road so that you know Patrick Henry isn't just being randomly tossed in there. All right, he was on the side of the anti-Federalist Papers. Here we go. Tariffs are a tax. Framers of the Constitution. Patrick Henry expressed concern. Blah, 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 blah. And he's worried he's going to become a king. So James Madison replied that this would not occur because the purse is in the hands of the representatives of the public. At the time of the founding and for most of the early history of the United States, tariffs were the primary source of revenue here for the federal government. And that was not very good. That was a big problem, especially under the Articles of Confederation, because it was just like one of those, you know, if you can afford a donation, great, we appreciate it, but you don't have to. So that was the situation. That's why none of the militias or even the military that was so carefully pulled together by Washington et al. Couldn't buy shoes, right? Because nobody was paying taxes in that situation. So they didn't want that to happen again. And they tried to fix with the Articles of Confederation, no luck. And so they put it into the U.S. Constitution and argued about it a lot. All right, here we go, back in it. For those interested. All right, at the time of the founding and for most of the early history, tariffs primary source of revenue for the federal government here. All right, so we're going to go to Federalist number 12. Alexander Hamilton, quote, "We must a long time depend for the means of revenue, chiefly on the duties," end quote. Setting tariff policy was thus considered a core congressional function. This is where our current Supreme Court can come back and say, you can't do this because you're taking over one of the fundamental core jobs of Congress. And that's been their argument in so many cases. They're looking to like the history, right? What's going on? This right here is saying this is Congress's job. So with this particular court, if you can show a statute that is strong enough that clearly needs to be interpreted through Congress, then that's the way they will go. I don't know if that'll happen here, but this language is very powerful for this particular U.S. Supreme Court. All right, so we got the Constitution here, limiting direct taxation by tying it to a census for proper apportionment. Apportioning in 1913, the 16th Amendment was ratified, granting Congress the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived. This ability of Congress to impose a domestic income tax reduce the importance of tariffs as a source of revenue for the federal government. So let's just make sure we understand here. In 1913, tariffs didn't really do much anymore. All right, so let's make a note of that. No tariffs. And then also, we're talking about the 16th Amendment is the income tax amendment, which allowed them to raise money in a different way. Sorry, everybody. Here we go. Quick lozenge for our history lesson tonight. Oh, I hope that wasn't too loud. Sorry, everyone. That was rude. Whoops, don't tell my mom. For much of this early history, Congress set tariffs without authorizing the president to adjust tariff rates by entering into the international agreements. This is another huge piece as well, right? So we haven't done what he's doing right now in the past. So history and tradition here is not being followed. In the late 19th century and early 20th centuries, Congress began to delegate to the executive limited authority to activate or suspend tariff rates through international agreements. All right. Nonetheless, Congress continued to enact legislation establishing the basic tariff schedules. For example, in the Tariff Act of 1930, Congress set forth tariff rates in 95 pages of schedules. Through the Tariff Classification Act in 1962, Congress adopted the tariff schedules of the United States. And I guess this is the late 20th century, right? The late 1900s, everybody, all right? The HT sus was enacted by Congress. We're going to move forward here, all right? I know there's a lot more detail of this HT sus going into the legislator setting that, but if I read it, I will fall asleep. So let's fast forward. Fast forwarding. All right, section D here. 1917, so this would have been around the time of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. For those of you wondering where we are in the world, Congress enacted the Trading with Enemy Act, or TWIA. This is probably one that you heard if you were listening to oral arguments multiple times. TWIA, again, is a statute, and it's Trading with Enemy Act. So we have an enemy and then an act here, all right? So we just call it TWIA. I didn't write it that way, but all right. So we've got the statute to address threats to the U.S. economy resulting from our entry into World War I. Section 5B of TWIA empowered the president to investigate, regulate, or prohibit any transactions in foreign exchange during wartime. And then here is the statute. In 1933, Congress expanded TWIA by authorizing the president to deploy the power to investigate, regulate, or prohibit foreign transactions during other national emergencies besides war. So this kind of opened it up with that national emergencies question. In 1941, just 1 week after the Pearl Harbor attack, Congress further broadened presidential authority under TWIA by adding the phrase, quote, importation or exportation to the list of transactions involving foreign property that the president may investigate, regulate, or prohibit. And that is the first War Powers Act here. And we've had a lot of changes that have come back. Let's see if I've got the other one. I might have the other one here. Let's see. 1973. Yeah, here we go. I've got a more up-to-date one here. So this is, again, we're looking at the War Powers Act as we go through. This act is not really at the crux of the issue here, but is also very important to note that we have it. Okay, there you go. War Powers Act. Thank you for your time. So we've got 1933, 1941 here. And then after World War II, presidents used TWIA to impose economic sanctions on foreign adversaries, regulate foreign exchange, and control exports based on several declarations of national emergencies. Here's a proclamation 2914 here, which was 1950. So Truman invoked TWIA to declare a national emergency because of the outbreak of the Korean War and the threat of communist imperialism. So Truman actually, a lot of this stuff is come from Truman. So Truman, and I'm sure all of you know this already, at the time of the Korean War or military action, the steel mills, the workers who were working went on strike because they wanted fair wages. So they went on strike, and what Truman did was he, through an executive order, said, I'm going to take over the industry, all right? So you guys aren't going to be doing any steel. We need it for the war, so I'm going to take it over. That got appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that is outside of the powers granted to you as the president. No, you may not do that. So that, I'm not sure how exactly the strike turned out exactly, but Truman got knocked down, and that's one of the most important cases that we have when it comes to presidential power here. All right, so we've got communist imperialism here, transaction control of regulations here, Department of Treasury forbidding any financial transactions involving or on behalf of North Korea in response to the proclamation here. So we'll keep skimming. And next, we've got President Johnson here placing controls on capital exports. So now we're getting into the 70s. In 1971, to address a balance of payments deficit, President Nixon, are you surprised? I'm not surprised. It's Nixon. President Nixon asserted the authority to temporarily suspend existing tariff agreements that reduce the statutory rates so as to impose a temporary additional 10% ad valorem duty, which was not to exceed the amount set in the congressionally approved existing tariff schedules of the United States on all dutiable articles imported into the United States. And then here's our proclamation for that. This surcharge lasted less than 5 months here. So we do have a footnote. A country's balance of payments is the difference between all money flowing into the country and the amount of money flowing out of the country to the rest of the world during a particular time period. A severe and sudden disruption in the country's ability to finance its international transactions, often due to an inability to cover essential imports or external debt repayments, is known as a balance of payments crisis. All right, so that's explaining some definitions, which is great. Oh, okay. Next one here, we have Yoshida. Oh, Yoshida's a huge case. I know I'm not saying it right. I apologize. All right, Yoshida International, a zipper importer subject to the surcharge, filed a lawsuit challenging the legality of the temporary tariff surcharge imposed by President Nixon's proclamation and sought a refund of taxes paid. The United States Customs Court ruled in favor of Yoshida. Holding that the president had exceeded his statutory authority as delegated by the Tariff Act of 1930 and the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 and Section 5B of TWIA. In assessing the surcharge, it accordingly concluded that President Nixon's imposition of a temporary surcharge was not authorized, right? So Nixon tried to do a lot of stuff. We mustn't forget, especially because he's the Penguins' favorite guy on the planet when he was not unalived. All right, so Nixon tried a lot of stuff and got knocked down quite a bit. Well, Yoshida 1 was pending appeal. Congress enacted the Trade Act of 1974, codified as amended, 19 U.S. Code Section 2101. Section 122 of the Trade Act gave the president the authority to impose for up to 150 days import quotas and or temporary import surcharge of up to 15% to deal with large and serious United States balance of payment deficits, I like better, but okay. And deficits to prevent an imminent and significant depreciation of the dollar in foreign exchange markets, or to cooperate with other countries in correcting an international balance of payments disequilibrium. For some reason, they were broken in a way. I was like, what? The next year, our predecessor court, the Court of Customs and Patent Appeals, reversed the Customs Court's decision and upheld President Nixon's 10% surcharge, determining that its imposition fell within the authority delegated to the president by Section 5B of TWIA. The court also noted that a surcharge imposed after January 3rd of 1975 must, of course, comply with Sections 122 of the Trade Act. As described in greater detail below, oh goody, that decision does not hold that TWIA created unlimited authority in the president to revise the tariff schedule. So they're picking it apart one little tiny bit at a time, right? So we know in the SUS, what was it, K something, whatever. This is the tariff calendar here. He went in and changed that when he was working on the tariffs here, but it's not an unlimited power. So you still have to work within the bounds of the law here and what your job is as the president. All right, so, but only limited temporary authority to impose tariffs that would not exceed the congressionally approved tariff rates. So again, Congress had put some rules into place and boundaries into place in order for the president to try to do what he was doing. In 1976, Congress pared back the scope of TWIA. Again, what was going on? Well, we had some problems with the Nixon here, and enacted the National Emergencies Act, which is the NEA, amended later on. The NEA limited presidential power and placed restrictions on the use of authorities granted by TWIA. As relevant to this appeal, the NEA ended within 2 years all powers and authorities possessed by the president as a result of the existence of any declaration of national emergency in effect September 14th of 1976, and placed new restrictions on the declaration and termination of future national emergencies. So they knew when they were putting this together, everybody, that there was this potential for a president to abuse that power. And they saw it. They saw it in Nixon. And so they knew that they had to do something to pull back the power of TWIA, and the NEA was a part of that. So let's skip forward here just a little bit. We've got the Yoshida case here. Okay. Okay, let's hit just the beginning here, and then I'll go ahead and turn on questions, everyone. So Section E, in addition to the president's authority to adjust tariffs by international agreement and limited authority conferred by Section 122 of the Trade Act, Congress has passed numerous other statutes that authorize the president and the executive branch to impose or modify tariffs on imports in certain circumstances. Here, notably, every congressional delegation to the president of the core legislative power to impose tariffs includes well-defined procedural and substantive limitations. And then they'll go through and give us some examples here. All right, so that's where I'm going to halt for tonight, so I can do some Q&As here. This case, it just kind of goes on and on and on. But I think it's a very well drafted decision by the Court of Appeals, with the forward-looking idea that they knew this would go to the Supreme Court. All right, here we go. Let me make sure I can turn the comments on here. Hopefully I can do that. No, that wasn't right. Oh, they're on. Oh, thank you, VC. Oh my gosh, VC. Oh, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right, thanks, VC. Although I must say, my moderators are freaking superstars, everybody. Especially these last couple of weeks. Whoo, it's getting dicey out there. It's getting dicey. Yours is on. Okay, great. I think it's a very well-written opinion. And again, they're looking forward to this going to the Supreme Court. So the first half, this first part that I was reading through had that history to it. The second part of the decision, they go through and really get into the details of the Yoshida case and all of our precedents through case law. So like the first half is statutory, the second half is case law, and then at the end it's just put together. And I thought it was very, very pretty good, pretty good. Hi, Kaya. Hello, hello. I will try to have this up. I'm now trying to get my lives up within about 48 hours over on the talk. So hello, Tania. Oh, thank you so much, Bruce Wayne's mother. I wasn't sure how the light was gonna work, but, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but these are like butterfly wings, right? In purple. How fun is that? I couldn't help myself. Oh, you have a pen. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, this is a nice pen. I got this from India. I'm not sure who the person was, but hello, Kristen. Welcome. My goodness. So again, everybody, I wanted to turn the comments off so that everyone could listen for a little bit because the trolls are getting out of control. So I wanted to make sure moderators could listen without having to run around getting attacked. So we can kind of go forward here. I thought it was a heart. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it looks like, is it an angel? Maybe? I need those nails. Well, I tell you, it does. It does, VC. And I may continue to go forward in this format for the next couple of weeks here because things are just getting really, they're getting really, you know? Right. Yeah, so this is the ruling. Again, this is what was appealed to SCOTUS. The ruling that came out of the Federal Circuit. So lower court, again, we got to remember we've always got 3 levels. Now there are some exceptions, but I'm not going to talk about that because that gets confusing, okay? We have district court at the bottom. This is the trial court, right? And then you get your first appeal, and that's going to be some kind of appellate court here, or circuit court, right? And then if you're unhappy, you can appeal it up to SCOTUS. So 3 steps. Sometimes the appellate court will have 2 because you'll have a panel of 3 and then you'll ask for en banc if the 3 come back with some weirdness, you know. So then that goes up after it's been decided. So we're here. This decision is here and en banc. It's a double. It's a 2 for. Really? Oh, thank you so much, Willie B. Oh my gosh, I tell you, I just have so much fun with my nails. I really do. It's probably not normal, but I do have, I've already started collecting for winter. So I've already got some Christmas nails. Oh my gosh, I got a set of Hanukkah nails too. Oh my goodness gracious, am I excited for those. Oh my gosh, oh, I love it. How if SCOTUS rules against this, would they refund the tariffs? That's a good question, and I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. So the huge amount of tariffs, you have to think like who's the one that paid it, and they would be the ones to get a refund. But in this situation, I'm not sure that they would go down that road. They would probably like cut your losses and don't do this again kind of situation, just to make it so we don't have international issues going on. But I really don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. Yes, the holiday meals, right? Last year, I feel like we were all ready to celebrate. I think Hawk put his tree up like on November 8th. And the decorations, which is wonderful. But I think this year I definitely am ready, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit. Not enough time to wear them all. Exactly. Excuse me. Exactly. But we do like them. Here's another set, just to give you some idea. Some people are really interested in my nails, but this is the brand that I get. I'm not a really big fan of this one. Actually, I like the Kiss nails better, but these are great too, so they're really fun. Yes, of course. Would file for amendments to request a refund. Yeah, that sounds right. They would need to file something in order to figure out how to get that money back if they would. That's why I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think we'll just keep taking the hits on a lot of this stuff. Oh, Glamnetics too. Oh my gosh. The Hello Kitty. Yes. I bought all of the Hello Kitties and I'm not sad. I'm not taking it back. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, I'm glad you're here too, Lori. Yeah, some people have been saying they were removed out of my list, my followers list. Hello, a girl in her brushes. Good evening. So they had to like come back in and refollow. And I just have no idea who has been kicked and then who is coming back. So I've not been getting pushed out to the FYP very much. Oh my gosh, Harry Potter Blues. Yes. Okay. The Dementor ones. That was my favorite one there. I'm not getting notifications. Oh my goodness. Like another whole tax refund season. Yeah, it kind of would be. So again, when we go through this kind of a situation, the definitions are important. When I was listening to the Supreme Court arguments on taxation and those kinds of questions that are so plainly, clearly rights given to Congress. Congress didn't just say, okay, we're not going to do tariffs anymore. Here's a statute. You can do whatever you want forever. They didn't do that. That's what the government thinks they did to the executive branch. So he has all of this genie power to decide, well, I think it's a national emergency. And if you've read any of those national emergency EOs with me, you'll know it's basically like, well, I don't think it should be that way. I don't think the 14th Amendment should be interpreted that way. Goodbye. I mean, there's nothing supporting it. But quite annoying, nevertheless, with that. Right. Right. Really? Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh, I tell ya. All right. Well, and again, I'm still making my move over to the channel. I've slowed down a little bit so I wasn't so overwhelmed, but that will be my permanent home. So you can always hop over there. I've gone live. I have so many lives up. I've gone live so many times. Yes. It's just kind of weird. Yeah, he does. Yes, it was yesterday. It was in front of SCOTUS. Now, my YouTube is the same name as over here on the talk. So it should be pretty easy. You haven't had any notification. Oh, thank goodness. What would we do? I don't know. That would be crazy town. Now, I've been struggling a little bit with the tube, getting everything working properly. Oh my gosh, everyone. Who's following Brian? DC, Brian. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, right? In DC. Oh my gosh, he's amazing. I adore him. He also has a YouTube channel, but I tell you what, he's just like so quick on the draw on these federal cases. Everybody. Okay, yeah, you're following. Oh, good. He's so quick about it. And he also is doing discussions and watching the arguments as well. And he's got an interesting perspective on things. I enjoy it. So make sure if you are interested that you can go and hang out with him. And then, of course, Skelikos. Actually, I think I was listening to most of the arguments with Skelikos yesterday. So make sure you've got it. Yes. That you've got a couple of people here. Small fries. What? No way. Oh, come on, Kaya. No, that's not true. We're all fries, and that's what matters. Size does not. Okay. Yep. Really? Yeah. So, Dania, the thing is about the subbing to find some content, when most of us will have we have to put some content out for our subscribers. It's a big thank you, first of all, but second of all, it usually isn't something that would make you lose your place within the posting on the channel, right? So that is kind of a pain in the keister, but it's one of the ways that we can stay here making content. Could they wait so long forcing government workers to seek new employment? Oh, I think they already have. I think they already have at this point. We're like 30 plus days in. I can't imagine right now when money's so tight, and it was so tight before, and then your job's done. And it's not just like your job's done and you're like, well, we couldn't get you an agreement, whatever. It's like, no, there's some like big jerks involved in this. There's some dumbasses making it incredibly difficult on the federal workers, which they've already taken such huge hits. Oh, I understand, Dania. I totally understand. Believe me, I truly do. Truly, truly, truly. And, I can't speak on behalf of Brian, but I would have to say, we don't want that either. If anything like subbing or gifts or any of those things you wish to do and you're okay doing, we're incredibly thankful for that. So thankful. But if you can't, we are still happy that you're here. All right. Don't feel pressured. This should not be on top of the anxiety of everything else going on. This should be low on the list. And you won't miss out on anything super duper important. All right. Let me put that out there for you, because we're thankful for the gifts, but do not require the gifts in order for you to have the knowledge. All right. So and I was going to ask too, if anyone if anyone was working at the airports and if people have been getting laid off. My gosh, air traffic control was like the most stressful job ever when they tried to, rank them. That's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. You need your support crew in order to do anything. It's not just the pilots anymore. Germany, we're given a list of German food banks. Oh my gosh, Willie B. No way. Seriously? Oh my goodness. Well, I guess that makes sense. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's so awful. It's awful. It's awful. This is one of my pet peeves though, real quick, everyone, as we're winding down. But what I've been going, poor Amanda. Oh my gosh, bless her sweetheart. Oh, she's just so amazing. I adore her so much. But I'm really struggling to keep the Hulk down at this point. I don't know if it's because of the number of days that I've been over and moderating and hanging out or what. But, oh my gosh, this just drives me crazy when they're like, oh, the Democrats did it. I'm like, I don't care which party you're a part of, but you should know basic civics. And that drives me crazy. So I got to go take a walk outside, get some fresh air. Got to put the tiger back in the cage, and then I can come back. Oh my gosh. So it's a struggle, but you've probably felt the same. There's been a bit of a change over the last few weeks for sure. Oh, they're very frustrating. I'm so broke I can't afford to pay. Oh, I totally understand. That's such a, you got to prioritize. And, for me, I can't speak for Brian, but I'm sure he feels the same way, that we would never want you to do something that would be stressful. You're supposed to be here learning, and maybe you'll learn something that's distressing, but the other bits of it, we just wouldn't want that to be there. So I go out and hug a tree. We love it. I love it when you're underpaid. Oh, really? Thanks, Danielle. Sometimes I wonder, because they're all, yeah, my cursing's bad. Sorry, Kristen. You're not going to bother keeping the Hulk. Well, that's true. But, as for me with the Hulk, it takes a little time to bring it back down. And so anyone in my house, they all just are standing and looking at me, and I'm like, what? And they're like, you look really mad. And I'm like, this is just my face. So, you got to, it's coming back down, and re-entry, that can be hard. That can be difficult. Oh, you're so sweet, Dania. Oh my gosh. And I'm so thankful, everybody. Seriously. I don't think, at this point with this many followers, there is no way I could continue to do this without subscribers' help. Truly, truly. I mean, I just couldn't do it. There's so much going on, so many cases. I think I've printed out 2 cases today that were over 200 pages. So, and I'm so thankful because I can go and I can get paper. What am I talking about? That's not true, everybody. I can make my husband go and get paper and then the toner, and that's all I really need. And that's expensive. So I'm so thankful for that. It all counts. Ah, yes, Louis. Yes, I think it's great. Honestly, I think it's so relaxed in here because my moderators are just so stellar. We're able to come in and learn rather than fight. If you want to fight, go fight. That's cool, man. But here it's like, let's get some information out first, then we can fight. Yes, thank you, puppy. I just, he's like, how many do you need? 1 or 2? I'm like, well, 3 would be best. Just waits for the corn and his crossword. Oh my gosh, I laugh because it's true. Oh my goodness gracious. He, is very shy, so he doesn't want any information shared, and I respect that. I totally respect that. But he still is every live I text out to my family. I'm like, I'm going live, and so they know to kind of stay away from where I'm at. But then when I'm done, I'm just like, okay, I'm done. And he is always like, well, how'd it go? Was it good? Anybody crazy? Was it fun? I'm like, it was so fun. We had a great time. So he's very supportive, but I keep trying to be like, come on, come meet the people. He's like, nah. But he's a good person. Deliver a pallet. I thought about it, Navy Vet. And I was talking to the hubs about it, and he's like, I'm not ready for that yet. He's like, I am just not there yet. Oh, well, thanks, Flamingo. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ruthie. Oh, Willie B. I know. I'm very thankful. I'm very lucky. Well, maybe not lucky. Well, I don't know if it's luck if you put a circle together and summon the love of your life from hell. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Still in my Halloween era at the moment. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so that was the long way of saying to everybody, thank you so much for your support. If your support is just coming and hanging out and making comments and learning, that's amazing. And if your support is doing that and then something additional, oh my gosh, thank you so much. So it's all up to you. Don't feel stressed about it. Learn so much. All right, well, hopefully it's good stuff. Hopefully it's good stuff. Now, the other thing too, everyone, I wanted to remind you about is, and VC, maybe you can help me here, and Kaya, but, oh, thank you so much, Karma. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm Bruce Wayne's mother. Yes, some science, yeah. I woke up the other day, went to the car, and in it was just a statue of a guy. It was like a dude. He was like this big, and he didn't have any skin. And it was like half something that was red and then like half something that was like all, I don't know, vessels or whatever. I don't know what it was, but there was a dude without any skin in my car, and that is unacceptable. I'm like, get that off my car. That doesn't need to be there. And so then he's like, don't insult my model. Oh my gosh. Okay. I digress, everyone. What I'm trying to say here, and I refer to him as Mr. Mayo. VC, do you know, or Kaya, or anyone here, dear friends, what his handle is? I call him Mr. Mayo, but of course, it's just because the R was missing. But I still think it's fun. Okay, right? So, I love anatomy. Well, good for you. Yeah, I don't even know what anatomy covers exactly, but okay, that's cool. So, Mr. Mayo, for those of you, oh, hello, Tiffany. World's Strongest Mayo, is that it? Oh my gosh, thank you, Navy Vet. Thank you, everybody. Okay, Kaya, thank you. Here we go. So, oh, I've missed it too. I tell you what, I've been doing a lot to get to get back into it with the TikTok. Okay, World's Strongest. Now, I tell you what, he's doing this huge series on the Constitution. Strongest. Is that it? World's Strongest. Oh, thank you so much, VC. Okay, everybody look at that. Oh, Lisa, I'm so glad. I'm so glad we can, we're going to be all right. Just, we're going to be all right. But he is doing this series again on the Constitution and the history of it. And you can tell he's a history buff. I have been enjoying it so much, everyone. Now, I already know everything. No, I'm just kidding. I'm learning a lot. If you are curious, if you want to kind of just be a little bit like, how did this even happen? I'd recommend going over and watching some of his posts. I've watched every single one because I was waiting for him to do something wrong so I could yell at him. But alas, nothing has been wrong. He's also starting to do lives, and he's never done those before. So I don't know what his schedule is for that. But if you see, the blink on the blinker, you can go hang out for a little bit. Yeah, thank you, Go Live Vegas. Thank you so much. So he he cracks me up. And then, that's about it. And we definitely, I'm hoping that the trolls will calm down a little bit, everybody. Because I have so much fun hanging out with my friends over there. I really do. And then, meanwhile, my family's like huddling in a closet like a tornado's coming. So we have to figure it out. Oh, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. I really do. So with that, oh my gosh, Kaya, how many do you have now? Is it 5? Is it? Oh my goodness. Oh, Jelly Kelly, thank you. Thank you so much. M6. Woo. Sounds like a James Bond name. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh yeah. Go for it. Go for it. This is something new. He's just starting it. And I think he's doing a great job. He's got a lot of good stuff to say, and it's easier to hear him when you don't have trolls screaming at you. It's like, that's kind of how I look at it. I'm like, well, he's got stuff to say. So, all right. Universe. Yes, Casey, of course. 8 foster kittens. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it so much. All right, with that, my friends, I will go ahead and say fare thee well. Have a wonderful night. I may be back tomorrow. Not sure. Might have to take a break. We'll see how that goes. But I will be back again very soon. Of course, Navy vet. And it's always good to see you. Thank you to the moderators, of course. I appreciate you all so much. So take care, everyone. And I'll see you all very soon.